Hi everyone. We're going to read the next section in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules. Let's see where we left him off. Ugh. Let's see what happens. Monday. Tomorrow I have an English assignment due where I have to write an allegory. That's basically a story that says one thing but means something else. I was having trouble getting inspired, but then I saw Roderick outside working on his van, and I got an idea. Let's see. Rory Screws Up by Greg Heffley. Once upon a time there was this monkey named Rory. The family he lived with loved him very much, even though he was constantly screwing things up. Rory. One day Rory accidentally rang the doorbell, and everybody thought he did it on purpose, so they gave him some bananas as a reward. You are so smart, Rory. Well, now Rory was going around thinking he was some smart sort of monkey genius or something, and one day he heard his owner say, "My car broke." So Rory's primitive mind raced to formulate a plan, and here is what he eventually came up with. Rory fix car. Rory worked all day and all night to make a long Rory worked all day and all night, and to make a long story short, the end result was not a fixed car. Rory. After it was all over, Rory had learned a very valuable lesson. Rory is a monkey, and monkeys don't fix cars. After I finished my paper, I showed it to Roderick. I figured he wouldn't get it, and sure enough, I was right. Monkeys don't understand English. Like I said before, Roderick knows he's got me under his thumb with his secret thing, so I have to get my licks in any way I can. Wednesday. Today was Manny's first day of preschool, and apparently it didn't go so great. All the other kids in Manny's school started back in September, but Manny wasn't potty trained until last week, so that's why he had to wait until now to make the jump from daycare. Manny's preschool was having their Halloween party today, so it wasn't the greatest way to introduce him to his classmates. Manny's teacher had to call Mom at work and have her come get him. I remember my first day of preschool. I didn't really know anyone, so I was pretty scared about being around a bunch of new kids. But this boy named Quinn came right over and started talking to me. Do you like ice cream? Yeah. Then why don't you marry it? I didn't get that it was a joke, so it really freaked me out. I told Mom I didn't want to go back to preschool, and I told her all about Quinn and what he said. But Mom told me Quinn was just being silly, and I didn't need to listen to him. After Mom explained the joke, I actually thought it was pretty funny. I couldn't wait to go back to school the next day and try it out myself. But it didn't really have the same effect. You're gonna grow up and get married to some ice cream. Ha! Yeah, not quite the same. Ooh, November. Perfect timing. Monday. It's been over a week since Roderick's party, and I stopped worrying that Mom and Dad were gonna bust us for it. But remember that bathroom door we switched out? Well, I forgot all about it until tonight. Roderick was upstairs in my room bugging me, and Dad went into the bathroom. A couple seconds later, he said something that made Roderick stop cold. Hey, didn't this door used to lock? I thought it was over. If Dad knew about the door, it was just a matter of time before he found out about the party. But Dad didn't put two and two together. I must be losing my marbles. Ah. You know, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if Mom and Dad found out about the party. Roderick would get grounded, which would be awesome. So if I can figure out a way to spill the beans without Roderick finding out, I'm gonna go for it. Tuesday. I got my first letter from my French pen pal, Mamadou. Today, I decided to adjust my attitude and give this whole pen pal thing my best effort. So when I wrote back to Mamadou today, I tried to be as helpful as possible. Their letter says, Dear Gregory, I am very privileged to make your acquaintance. Mamadou. Dear Mamadou, I'm pretty sure acquaintance doesn't have a C in it. I really think you need to work on your English. Sincerely, Greg. Was that very helpful? I think it's silly that Madame Lefray won't let us use email with our pen pals. Albert Murphy has already written back and forth with his pen pal a bunch of times, and it's costing them a lot of money in stamps. So this is the other letters. Dear Jacques, how old are you? Dear Albert, 12. Dear Jacques, oh. Yeah, when we do our pen pals, I think you guys are going to write a little bit more than that. Just a little bit. Okay, one more section and then I'm done. Friday. Tonight, Rowley's parents went out to dinner, so they got him a babysitter. I don't know why Rowley can't just watch himself for a few hours, but believe me, I'm not complaining. Rowley's babysitter is Heather Hills, and she's the prettiest girl at Crossland High School. So whenever the Jeffersons go out, I always make sure to be up at Rowley's for story time. Can you scooch over a little bit? Sorry, there's really not enough room. I went up to Rowley's at about 8 o'clock tonight. I even splashed on some of Roderick's cologne to make sure I made a good impression on Heather. I knocked on the door and waited for Heather to answer, but I was caught a little off guard when Rowley's next-door neighbor, Leland, answered instead. I can't believe Rowley's parents switched babysitters from Heather to Leland. They should have at least checked with me before doing something like that. Once I realized Heather wasn't there, I turned around to go back home, but Rowley asked me if I wanted to hang out and play magic and monsters with him and Leland. The only reason I said yes was because I thought it was some kind of video game, but then I found out that you play it with pencils and paper and these special dice, and that you're supposed to use your imagination or whatever. And it actually turned out to be pretty fun, mostly because in Magic and Monsters, you can do all sorts of stuff you could never do in real life. I light Rowley's eyebrows with a torch. Ouch. When I got home, I told Mom all about Magic and Monsters and how Leland was a really awesome dungeon keeper. Roderick overheard me talking about Leland, and he said that Leland is something not super nice. But this is coming from a guy who spends his Saturday nights putting fake throw-up on people's cars in the Home Depot parking lot. So I think I'll just take Roderick's opinion with a grain of salt. Okay, that's going to be all for today. Check back tomorrow for the next little bit in our story. Bye, everyone.